Concentration is defined as the habit of planting in the mind a definite aim, object, or purpose, and visualizing the same until ways and means for its realization have been created. The principle of concentration is the medium by which procrastination is overcome. The same principle is the foundation upon which both self-confidence and self-control are predicated. The principle of habit and the principle of concentration go hand in glove. Habit may grow out of concentration, and concentration may grow out of habit. The object of concentrating upon a definite aim is to train the mind until it forms the habit of focusing upon the object of that aim. By focusing upon one's definite aim through concentrated effort and attention, this habit comes to influence the subconscious mind so that it picks up the mental concept of that aim and translates it into its physical counterpart through the most practical and direct methods available. Every human being makes use of the principle of concentration whether he realizes it or not. The person who permits his conscious mind to dwell upon the negative thoughts of fear, poverty, ill health, and intolerance thereby applies the law of concentration, and sooner or later the subconscious mind will pick up these suggestions and act upon them and translate them into their physical counterpart. Instructions for applying concentration. 1. Master and apply the principle of concentration by following the habits of giving orders to your subconscious mind, mixing your thoughts with one or more of the positive emotions, and repeating your orders over and over. Keep up this procedure until you get satisfactory results, remembering that eternal vigilance is the price of mastery in this effort. 2. Empty your conscious mind of all other thoughts. After a little practice, you will be able to focus your mind entirely upon any subject that you please. The act of focusing upon one subject and keeping your mind upon that one subject is concentration. 3. Hold your thoughts to the object of your concentration with a burning desire for the attainment of whatever object you have in mind. When concentrating upon your definite chief aim, do so in perfect faith that you will realize the object of that aim. 4. When you find your conscious mind wandering, drive it back and focus it upon that subject again and again, until you have developed such perfect self-control that you can keep out of your mind all other thoughts. Mix emotions or feelings with your thoughts when concentrating, otherwise they will not be recognized by your subconscious mind. 5. The principle of concentration may be best applied when one is in an environment of silence, where there are no counter-attractions or noises of any disturbing nature. The best time for concentrating is after one has retired at night, for then the number of distractions is minimized. 6. Your subconscious mind can best be reached and influenced when you concentrate in your conscious mind upon an idea, plan, or purpose in a spirit of intense enthusiasm, for the reason that enthusiasm arouses your faculty of creative imagination and puts it into action. Any idea, plan, purpose, or definite aim that you persistently submit to your subconscious mind through the medium of concentration here described brings to your aid the force of infinite intelligence, until eventually practical plans of procedure will flash into your mind during your period of concentration. When you first start your practice of concentration, you may not experience the feeling that you are in communication with a superior intelligence. But in time, if you develop the habit of regular concentration, you will be thoroughly cognizant of the fact that a superior intelligence is influencing you. It is a well-known fact that the jack of all trades never achieves success. Life is so very complicated, and there are so many ways of dissipating energy unprofitably, that the habit of concentrated effort must be formed and adhered to by all who succeed. Power is predicated upon organized energy. Energy can only be organized through the principle of concentration. It is a fact worthy of serious consideration that all men of outstanding success in all walks of life are men who concentrate the major portion of their thoughts and efforts upon some one definite purpose or chief aim. By analyzing the principle of the mastermind, you will observe that when two or more people ally themselves in a spirit of harmony for the purpose of achieving some definite objective, that alliance functions through the principle of concentrated effort. From my analysis of more than 25,000 men and women who were rated as failures, I observed that not one of them followed the habit of focusing his or her mind upon a definite chief aim through the principle of concentration. Nearly everyone has a definite chief aim at one time or another. 95% of the people who have such aims, however, make no attempt to realize them, for the reason that they have not learned the art of concentrating on their definite aims for sufficient length of time to fix in the subconscious mind the object of their aims. The majority of the people who adopt a definite aim do so more in the nature of a wish than in the form of a definite, determined, well-defined intention. Merely permitting a definite aim to come into one's mind is in no way beneficial. Such an aim, to be of permanent value, must be fixed in the mind through the principle of concentration. Concentration develops the power of persistence and enables one to master all forms of temporary defeat. The majority of people never learn the real difference between temporary defeat and permanent failure, for the reason that they are lacking in the persistence necessary to stage a comeback after they have experienced temporary defeat. Persistence is merely concentrated effort well mixed with determination and faith. From these facts, you will readily understand that the principle of a definite chief aim and the principle of concentration are complementary. One can be applied successfully only with the aid of the other. Every human being is ruled by the law of habit. Because this is true, the person who learns to build his habits to order practically controls the major cause of successful achievement. Concentration is the principle through which one may build one's habits to order. It has been correctly said that we first make our habits, and our habits then make us. We have habits of mind and habits of body. Both are subject to control, and the medium of that control is concentration. The mind is just as susceptible to the influence of habit as is the physical body. Through concentration, we may force the mind to dwell upon any subject we desire, until the mind falls into the habit of dwelling on that subject. It then follows the habit automatically. There is no point of compromise between a man and his habits. Either he controls his habits, or his habits control him. The successful man, understanding this truth, forces himself to build the sort of habits by which he is willing to be controlled. Habits are formed step by step through our every thought and deed. Center your thoughts upon a definite aim through concentration, and very soon your subconscious mind will pick up a clear picture of that aim and aid you in translating it into its physical counterpart. All thought has a tendency to externalize itself. This is a truth well known to every psychologist, as it was known to him who wrote, "Whatever a man soweth, that shall he also reap." Your financial condition is not the result of chance or accident. It reflects perfectly the nature of your dominating thoughts, desires, and aims. In analyses of men who have accumulated huge fortunes, I particularly studied the source of those fortunes, and in every case discovered that they represented the consummation of the state of mind of those who had accumulated them. The man who understands the possibilities of concentration need rarely know the word impossible. I have repeatedly made reference to the power of infinite intelligence. If such a power can be influenced to inject itself into man's affairs, and made to help man achieve the object of his aims and purposes, I feel certain that this stupendous result can be attained only through the principle of concentration. I owe eternal allegiance to infinite intelligence. This statement is made for the sole purpose of enabling every reader to become more familiar with a great universal law that is capable of being harnessed and induced to separate man from all of his causes of doubt, worry, and fear. I had the privilege of visiting with F.W. Woolworth. In these words did he describe the method through which he built what was at that time the tallest building in the world. I had an architect draw up a set of plans. Every day for more than 6 months, I went into my private office, shut the door, and looked over these plans for more than half an hour. Each time that I looked at them, the actual physical building seemed nearer a reality. Finally, the day came when the exact method by which I financed the Woolworth building flashed into my mind, and I knew instantly that the building was a reality. From that point on, I had no difficulty whatsoever. The Woolworth building became a reality because F.W. Woolworth concentrated upon that building until concentrated thought externalized itself in physical reality. Not long ago, I was in the original Menlo Park laboratory of Edison, which Henry Ford, with pious reverence for the great inventor, has erected at Dearborn, Michigan. All the earlier tools of Edison's craft are there. The first electric incandescent light. It had a life of 8 hours. The first phonograph, in which a needle played over a tin foil, recorded and emitted a squeaky imitation of the human voice. Thousands of bottles of chemicals lined the walls. Mr. Edison had to have every known chemical where he could put his hand on it, said the custodian who had worked with him half a century ago. But to me, more interesting than the material relics was a picture the custodian drew for me, little thinking how impressive it was. "Often, Mr. Ford comes in here," said he. "He pulls up that chair and just sits and thinks. Sometimes he'll sit almost an hour and then go out without a word to anyone." What are the thoughts of the giant of industrial organization as he sits thus surrounded by the relics of the earlier triumphs of Edison's wizardry? "Thinking," he once said, "is the hardest work that any man can do." Concentration is the focusing of the attention, interest, and desire upon the attainment of a definite end.